All of the colossal minions for Voyage into the sunken city have been revealed, which means we gotta put them into a tier list and see which colossal is the best one. I do want to mention at the start of this video that I think none of these colossal minions are bad, but there are some that are much better than others. Thank you to Firestone for sponsoring this video. If you want to level up your Hearthstone game, make sure you're using Firestone. Firestone helps you keep track of your deck, what's in it, what you played, and what's in your hand. Firestone also keeps track of what your opponent has played, what potential secrets they could have, and so much more information that will help you win more. Firestone also keeps track of every single game you played, and you can also watch each individual replay to see what exactly went wrong and how you won or lost the game. Firestone also keeps track of your entire collection to let you know how much of each set you've actually completed. It also lets you know how many packs you opened over the years in case you were curious how many classic packs you've actually ended up opening. There is a bunch of achievements that you can go for in Firestone to show off to all your friends. Firestone is the perfect companion to have while playing Hearthstone, so make sure you download it with the link in the description. Starting off with the Priest Colossal Blackwater Behemoth, an 8 mana 8/10 beast, colossal +1, and has lifesteal. This colossal summons Behemoth's Lure, a 2 mana 1/4 beast. At the end of your turn, force a random enemy minion to attack Blackwater Behemoth. I'm gonna go on the record, and I think this card is probably the lamest colossal minion that we've seen, but I also think that this colossal minion is gonna be a lot more powerful than people are gonna give it credit for. If this card lives a single turn, it is 24 life for the priest, and that is an insane amount of life over 2 turns. This is a must kill minion if you do not have lethal the following turn, unless you can burn your opponent from 30 to 0. You're basically gonna Reno Jackson yourself, and Reno Jackson is in the core set, so you already know that this card is pretty decent if you can actually get the time. Now, time is the biggest thing here. Can you actually get to turn 8 often enough for this sees a really big swing turn? And I think you can. If we're gonna build a Highlander priest, this card is just really good on its own, and I think this card is going to be severely underrated from a lot of people. The only issue with this card is that if your opponent has no minions on their side of the board when this can be played, this absolutely does nothing. It's just a big boy, and that is why I'm putting Blackwater Behemoth in the B category. Next, we have the Shaman Colossal Glug the Gulper, a 7 mana 3/3 beast, colossal +3. After a friendly minion dies, gain its original stats. Glug will summon 3 of his tails, which are 2 mana 2/2 beast with taunt. Glug the Gulper is a very interesting colossal, but I also think it's not that strong. This card could be very good against a board centric deck that does not have a way to kill Glug, because this card is very snowbally, but this card is just very slow. If you're playing this on 7 mana and your opponent has a way to kill it, it just feels absolutely horrible, and most of the time I feel like this card is just gonna die immediately before it actually gets some value. It almost feels like it doesn't do enough for what it is. It's obviously a lot of stats. It's 7 mana 9/11. That's a pretty big minion for turn 7, but stats aren't everything in Hearthstone anymore, right? So this card just feels a little bit too slow, and maybe if the meta is super board centric, this card will see a ton of play, but I'm just not feeling it. And that's why we're putting Glug in the C category. I don't think it's horrible, so it's not worth a D, but it's definitely worth a C. Next, we have the Druid Colossal Koleg, a 7 mana 6/5 beast, colossal +1, immune while you control Koleg Shell. Koleg Shell is a 5 mana 0/8 beast, taunt, death rattle, gain 8 armor. This one's a little bit interesting because just like the Shaman Colossal, this card is really good in a board centric matchup, but it doesn't really do a whole lot if the opponent is just trying to kill you from hand. I do think this one is a lot stronger because you have a 6/5 that is immune, and if they do kill the shell, not only does it have 8 life of taunt, but you also gain 8 armor, which is really powerful. This is a card I think a lot of Druid decks are going to really enjoy, and if it goes into a Highlander deck, it's going to just be pretty decent as a standalone card. And that is why Koleg is going into the B category, and I do think it's slightly better than the Blackwater Behemoth. Next, we have the Rogue Colossal Krakatoa, a 6 mana 6/5 beast, colossal +2. Your Krakatoa claws have +2 attack. The Krakatoa's Claw is a 2 mana 2/1 beast with rush and a death rattle to equip a 2/1 claw. So this is a very powerful card. This is the most tempo oriented colossal by far, and it's also the cheapest one, which is really interesting why they gave Rogue such a powerful effect. This is basically Janice Barov, but arguably even stronger because you're getting guaranteed rush and you're also getting weapon damage and you're getting a 6/5 body on top of it. This is the type of card that can be meta defining, and I almost guarantee for the next 2 years, Rogue will want to play this card no matter what, just because of the effect. And this is why we're putting Krakatoa in the S category. Next, we have the Hunter Colossal Hydrolodon, a 7 mana 5/5 beast, colossal +2, battlecry, give your Hydrolodon heads rush. A Hydrolodon head is a 2 mana 3/1 beast, death rattle. If you control Hydrolodon, summon 2 Hydrolodon heads. Try to say Hydrolodon 5 times fast. This is a very powerful effect. This is 7 mana to clear your opponent's board because you'll just infinitely summon heads until there is nothing else to attack into. So if you're going against a board centric deck, my god, this effect is super powerful, and Hunter probably likes this effect a lot. Because this is around for the next 2 years, I would imagine this card sees play at some point. And if there's ever a really good mid-range Hunter deck, you could probably bet this card's gonna see play in there.
This is a good card.
And this is why we're putting Hydrolodon in the A category. Next, we have the Warrior Colossal Nelly the Great Thresher, a 7 mana 5/5 beast, colossal +1, battlecry, discover 3 pirates to crew Nelly's ship. Nelly's pirate ship is a 5 mana 2/6 beast, taunt, death rattle, add Nelly's pirate crew to your hand, they cost 1. In my opinion, this is the type of colossal that will see a ton of play because it kind of fits into every single deck no matter what you're playing, because there's an inherent OTK in this card. As long as you're able to either A, have Mr. Smite in your hand, or you discover Mr. Smite in Nelly's ship, there is an OTK because you play Mr. Smite, you play all your 1-cost pirates, and you're going face with it. This is just a ton of stats for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and honestly, I would not be surprised if this ends up being the best colossal from the set, and I think this card is really powerful. And this is why Nelly is going in the S tier. Now, I don't know which one's better between the two, but my god, they're both really powerful. Next, we have the Warlock Colossal Gigafin, 8 mana 7/4 Murloc, colossal +1, battlecry, devour all enemy minions, death rattle, spit them back out. Gigafin's Maw, a 6 mana 4/7 Murloc, taunt, death rattle, permanently destroy all minions inside Gigafin. When it comes to Gigafin, this card is very hard to evaluate. I don't know if this effect is that powerful. It's not super hard to deal 4 damage to a minion. Again, if this is against a board centric deck, this card is very powerful. If your opponent does not have a way to deal 4 damage, you basically wipe their board out and you got a ton of stats. This card is like a big twisting nether, and it's nice, don't get me wrong, but if they are able to kill the Gigafin before Gigafin's Maw, this card feels kind of bad. We'll have to wait and see. I'm a little skeptical of this card, but it might actually end up being super powerful, but I don't really see it. And this is why I'm putting Gigafin in the C category. I do think it's on par with Glug, but I don't know. I'm not really optimistic on this effect. Next, we have the Demon Hunter 1 Z-Log of the Abyss, a 7 mana 3/6 demon, colossal +4. At the start of your turn, increase the damage of Z-Log's stocks by 1. All of Z-Log's stocks are a 2 mana 1/2 demon. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. When it comes to Z-Log, this card is very versatile. I'm really happy that they didn't just make it attack a random enemy minion, because that means if you just play this on turn 7 and your opponent doesn't have a board, it's still a very threatening card. If your opponent doesn't have a very clean way of dealing with the stocks, this can be a very interesting card. But again, it seems like it's a little too slow, but once it starts ramping up, it gets a little bit dangerous. I think this card has the benefit of kind of spreading out its stats a lot more and all at once. If this card lives a single turn, it reminds me a lot of the Priest Colossal, where this is a very scary card to leave on the board because it's going to ramp up quite a bit, and it could be the difference of you winning or losing the game from how much damage this card can do. I think this card will end up seeing play, and there are a lot of ways for Demon Hunter to get this card out early and protect it. I don't know if it's a high B or a low A, but I do think I'm going to put it as a low A because I think the effect can be extremely powerful and snowbally. Next, we have the Mage Colossal Gaia the Tectonic, a 8 mana 5/7 mech, colossal +2. After a friendly mech attacks, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Gaia drills are 3 mana 2/3 mechs with rush. I personally believe that this is the worst colossal that we have seen. I just don't know if the effect is that good. I do think this card can be good. There are going to be moments where this card wins you the game just by clearing the enemy side and just dumping a bunch of stats. Now, this card does have the benefit of working with other mechs already on the board. So if you do have a board and you play this could be an insane amount of damage. I feel like for 8 mana and the payoff you get for this card, it just doesn't feel that powerful. Maybe it gets a little bit stronger with a very good mech deck, but at the moment, I'm not super optimistic on this card. And we're putting Gaia in the lowest category for C. Last but not least, we have the Paladin Colossal, the Leviathan, a 7 mana 4/5 mech colossal +1 rush divine shield. After this attacks, dredge. And the Leviathan's crew is a 3 mana 4/2 rush divine shield. After this attacks, draw a card. The Leviathan is not a flashy colossal, but this card is really powerful. You are getting an absurd amount of stats for 7 mana that has divine shield, and you not only dredge a card, but you draw it immediately. So virtually this is 7 mana, draw a particular card that you chose and trade into 1 big minion or 2 smaller minions while leaving a crap ton of stats on the board. I don't know what Paladin deck would not want this. It fits very nicely into mid-range, into a control Paladin, even maybe an aggro deck, just because the amount of stats you're getting for 7 mana that can trade into a minion is just really powerful. And this is why I'm putting the Leviathan in A category. And that was my colossal tier list. Let me know what you think about it with a comment down below. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.